Good morning, everybody. Anyway, I'd like to welcome you all here today. My name is Justin Okamoto. I'm 23 years old, and I'm the assistant pastor of the West Rock Family Church over in Westchester, New York. A little bit more about me. I'm married and blessed to a beautiful Japanese girl. Her name is Kazuka. She's in the audience somewhere. And I really just want to start off by acknowledging all of you for being here. And whatever circumstances you're in, that you chose to be here today. And I'm really grateful for that, because that allows me to do what I love to do, which is to speak and get to know people, whether they're people that I know already or someone I've just met. So I really want to acknowledge you all for that. And give yourselves a round of applause for that. So we are in the spirit of gratitude. We just had Thanksgiving, right? You guys have a good holiday? So I want to start off just by creating a space of gratitude. So just take like 30 seconds, and I want you to just close your eyes and think about a moment where you felt really grateful in your life. So just close your eyes and think about that experience. Okay, I hope we could all think of an experience. I hope we could all think of something that we were grateful for. And I want you to consider that experience and think about it. And consider that when you felt gratitude in that experience, you were actually being a grateful person, right? That makes sense, right? You feel gratitude because you're being grateful. And what I want to say about that is, gratitude comes from who you're being in that moment. And each and every moment, you can choose to be grateful. And those feelings that you feel when you're being grateful, joy, happiness, maybe some peace of mind, maybe some excitement, that comes out of who you're being. Because it's who you're being that creates the context of how your world looks to you, how your world shows up for you. I want to give you an example, a little story. Has anybody here heard the story about the 3 stonecutters? So there's 3 stonecutters. And, you know, they're doing their work, they're cutting the stone, as stonecutters do. And the master comes and talks to one of them, and he says, "What are you doing?" And the stonecutter says, "I'm cutting stone." And then the master says, "Okay." And then he goes to the second one, and he says, "What are you doing?" And the second one says, "I'm making a day's wage. I'm doing my job." And then the master goes to the third one. And the third one, you know, he's like working so hard. He's like inspired, and he's got this energy, this aliveness. And the master asks him, "What are you doing?" And the stonecutter says, "I'm building a cathedral." So the point of that story is, even though the 3 stonecutters were doing the same action, they were hacking away at some stone, the context that was happening in was different for each one. The third one was being a visionary. He saw that he was creating some magnificent piece of work. And that gave him inspiration, that pushed him forward. And so what I want to say about gratitude is being grateful creates that context for our world to show up in a way that brings us joy and happiness. Because in life, things happen, right? We all know that. Things happen in life. Sometimes things happen that we don't necessarily always expect. I'd like to share a little story. Before I was matched to my wife, Kazuka, I was matched before. And I was matched, engaged for about 10 months. And when I first met the girl, I felt, this girl is amazing. This is the one, you know? This is the one that I'm going to end up with. And, you know, the stars aligned, you could say. Just felt so right. And somewhere in the process, we ended up separating. She went to Japan, I stayed in America. And, but we were excited to get together. The blessing was coming, and she bought her dress, I bought my tickets to Korea. And then about 3 weeks before the blessing date, communication just stopped. She didn't return my emails, she didn't answer any of my Skype calls, and I was wondering what's going on. And so finally I asked her, I pleaded with her in desperation, what's happening? I just want to know what's happening with you right now. And so she agrees finally to have a conversation with me. And it was a short and simple conversation. We were Skyping, and she says to me, I don't believe in the blessing. I don't believe in true parents. I cannot go through with this with you, and you need to find somebody else. And so I close my computer, and I just start screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm crying, I'm cursing at the sky, and I'm just in so much pain at this time. I see my whole world crashing. I was imagining us being at the blessing together, and then 3 weeks before, that dream is gone. But what happened after that was, I left my room, and I was on my computer deleting pictures of us together, not wanting to remember it anymore. And my oldest brother, Takashi, he comes up to me, and I'm just on the couch crying, and he puts his arm around me. And he tells me it's not my fault. And he's comforting me. And then I go downstairs, and I see my brother Dachel. And my brother Dachel comforts me in another way. He tells me, oh, she just couldn't take the Okamoto charm. It was just too much for her. And that brought up my spirits. It made me laugh. And then, I text my sister, and she gets all angry about this girl, and like, oh, you're better than that, you're better than that. And my whole family supports me in their own way. And at some point, I was miserable, but then at some point I just got that I could be grateful right now. My whole family supported me in a way that I've never experienced. I've never felt my brother embrace me like that or comfort me like that. And I got to know that my brother, all of his jokes were his way of showing love and making people smile. And I got to know my family in a new and profound way. And so, of course, looking back, now I have my beautiful wife that I have now. I can be grateful for that experience. But what I want to say is that even in the darkest places in our life, when we go through some of the harshest, difficult moments, we can be grateful. We can find great gratitude. And only through finding that gratitude and being grateful can we get out of the difficult moments in our life. And the thing is, gratitude, when we look back on our lives and we look back being grateful, it transforms the past for us. Our past, our difficult past is no longer what it is, what it was, but now it's what got us here to the great life that we're living now. But it also transforms every moment being grateful. As an assistant pastor, a lot of what I do is just talking with young people and just listening to them and what's going on in their lives, and guiding them in whatever way I can to fulfill on what matters to them. And I was talking to one brother just on Friday, and he was thanking me a lot for just reaching out. I just called him up on the phone and I said, and we had a long conversation about what's going on in his life, and he sincerely thanked me for that. But the thing is, I was also extremely grateful for that conversation. Because when I can love somebody, then I get to be a loving person. And that's the person that I want to be. And I would never get to be that loving person unless I had someone to love. I would never get to be strong unless I had somebody to fight for. And I would never get to be grateful unless I had people to acknowledge in my life. And so I get to be who I want to be because of all of those people. I get to be who I want to be because of all of you. I get to love because of all of you. And so in every moment when we are grateful, though we may be giving, we're also receiving, because we get so much out of that. And so it all comes down to that choice. Who are you going to be at this moment? Who are you going to be today? Are you going to be grateful? Because if you can be grateful, your world will transform. And you can live in a world where you're always constantly receiving.